Hello everyone, this is a short video to talk about that really tough issue of conflict. So how can we actually de-escalate or even prevent it? Is it really possible in the workplace? It's a source of huge stress and tension for so many people. People are great to work with. They can be the reason why we come to work, whether they be clients, people we're caring for, patients, colleagues, other stakeholders, family members. But they can also be the hardest part because when emotions are involved, stress is involved, people are tired, it's more likely that conflict will occur. And particularly in this modern world in which burnout is such a huge issue post-COVID, it's something really important to address. The good news is that there is a lot we can do about it. So probably watching this video as you've signed up to a workshop that's coming up or you're thinking about signing up. So I just wanted to give you a bit of a taste of my approach to helping people really resolve the conflict or even de-escalate it or prevent it in the first place. So I tend to do it in three ways, and this is what I'll be covering off in the workshop itself. So the first thing is what I call the psychology of conflict. Often when we think about conflict, we go straight into the surface level conflict. We try and rehearse it. We go over what happened, who said what I should have done, why that other person was wrong and I was right, or vice versa. The problem with that is that we're missing the deeper understanding or the deeper level of what's going on. So if we can start to understand the psychology behind it, why is it that people can actually be really, really unreasonable in spite of rational facts to the contrary of their opinion, for example, or what they're doing? So what's going on with stress? How does stress fatigue impact people to be seemingly irrational or difficult? How does that work for ourselves? Because if we're honest, we're all probably go there sometimes. If we can understand it for ourselves, we're more likely to understand it for other people. You can use a bit of empathy. When does our ego take over? When do we just get lost in it? We get so angry, frustrated. When do others do it? And can we spot the signs and symptoms? And then we can start to see and understand escalation points. So I'll talk through a lot about when does it start to escalate and become a problem so that in the future we can start to see the signs and symptoms and start to take action to de-escalate. So if you can really go sort of below the surface level of what I call the conflict iceberg, and unpack what's going on to know why it escalates in the first place, we're already on the front foot. So that's the first thing. Second thing is to think about tactical tools in the heat of the moment that you can use to de-escalate. So this is pretty simple but very powerful. So how you're speaking, how you're sitting, standing, the body language, your tone of voice. Is there a harshness there that may be triggering people? Are you using judgmental language? Are we pointing fingers? Are we saying, you did this, you should be doing that? Or are we using more neutral terms, which I'll talk about, with a calm, assured tone? So we're going to talk about those tactical tools that we can use day in, day out to hopefully prevent conflict occurring or de-escalate when needed, but also put in boundaries. It doesn't mean we can't be firm when we need to, when we're dealing with maybe challenging situations or difficult people, but it's a fine line between using something that's calm and confident to put in a boundary or doing something that might escalate or create more tension when we're trying to do the opposite. So that's the second thing. The third thing is then how do we go about establishing new habits for ourselves, for our team, to change the culture long term? And that comes about when we're thinking about agreements. So what agreements, expectations are in place with the people that we're working with day to day? Are they informal? Are they verbal? Are they written down agreements? It doesn't matter what they are, but do we have some agreement or expectation of how other people work with us or behave to, again, really go to that fundamental place to stop conflict occurring? Often conflict happens when we're all in assumption mode, where we're thinking people are doing things for reasons we don't understand. We get all judgmental because there aren't these underlying agreements in place. So we're going to really talk about that. We're going to go through a process where people can think about how to debrief when conflict occurs. So if something's happened, how do you calmly, confidently go around debriefing a conflict so that we can all take the learning without doing the finger pointing and blame? So that's kind of the three areas. If you have signed up to the workshop, I encourage you to think about, prior to the workshop, to go into observer mode. to start to observe the conflicts that you're engaging in, you're witnessing, you're seeing at work or at home. Start to write down, how you're feeling at the time, what emotions come up for you, what thoughts come up for you, what are you thinking at the time? Are you judging? Are you blaming anyone? Are you getting scared, frustrated? Do you want to get involved? Do you want to withdraw? What physical symptoms are coming up? How are you feeling? What are people doing to maybe escalate the conflict or maybe de-escalate? Maybe you're seeing some examples of people who handle conflict really well. So I just want you to go into observer mode just so you can put your head in the game and start to, hopefully when you come to the workshop, get the most out of it, because you can then translate all the practical tools, tips, methods that I talk about in the workshop back into the workplace more easily, because you've got some live working examples to work with. I hope that makes sense. I look forward to seeing you there. And if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. All the very best.